pick them up, throw them in the porch.
There you go.
You know what? It works.
It does work, doesn't it?
We got a log cabin with a big porch, length of the house, and I just throw 3 or 4 into those under the porch, and they run the spider.
Isn't it amazing though? It can be so easy, and we
Yeah.
make it so hard. Humans are so good at that. So anyway, this was white, and now it's this color. They used primarily four types of fibers to make their clothes. Have linen. And when they got over here to the colonies, they also used hemp, and they used nettles because they could shock those up and let the vegetation rot off of them. So then, like, and celery, and they've got that stick kind of thing in them, and you bite it and it chew. That's kind of like just like what a hemp plant is with a bunch of those things in it, and they're real woody. And they would take those and they would tie them into bottles and let them set part of the winter to rot off the green part, and so that just the sticky stuff was left in the center. And then they'd brush that out and comb it out and spin that just on a spinning wheel. Or they could put it and tie it in shocks and hang it in the stream and let the stream beat it and beat all the green vegetation off. And then they would spin that and weave it into linen. This is linen. The other thing that they used for fabric was wool. Oh, lovely. I'll be back. Thanks. Hi. So you have a sheep, you shear the sheep, take the wool off, you wash it, you dry it, you card it to get the dirt out. This has a lot of dirt left in it. And then you can either dye it then. If you were carding on carders like they would, these would be about this long, and then when you spin like this. And then you'd spin like this on your spinning wheel. And if you look at the fibers in wool, they have little hooks like things on them, and that's why they'll hold together when you spin them. And then when you get to the end of this, then you have to add another piece on. So this has been commercially done. It's easier to spin because you can just keep spinning. But anyway, wool. There you go, hon. So linen or hemp, wool, silk, which this is that's a raw silk shirt right here. It's kind of nubby. It looks a lot different from what we usually think of as silk. That's finer stuff, But the silk was and it came from China. The silk was from China, but it was cheaper than cotton because cotton gin hadn't been invented yet. So they would grow the cotton here, and then they'd ship it, and there weren't very many people, so they couldn't. They didn't have enough people to process the cotton, so they'd bale out the cotton and they'd send it all back to the continent, where it would be picked and cleaned and carded and spun and woven, and then if they wanted to print it, like, can I use you for an example?
Can you just stand by her?
At her pretty shirt. Look at her pretty shirt. So if they wanted to do this pretty shirt, they would have this fabric, and they would dye it yellow. And then they would take a block of wood and they'd carve on the strawberry. And then they would take another block of wood and they would carve on just the stems. And then they would take another block of wood and carve on just the flowers. And they would paint those, and then they would have to they'd take the first block of wood and stamp the fabric so there was just the strawberries, and then the next block of wood and they would stamp it on there so there was so that they would add the leaves to it and so on, and that's what made cotton fabric so expensive in the colony.